Good morning, everyone. I am Tamilalagan, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of ECE, Sri Shanmuga College of Engineering and Technology, Sangagiri. Today, today I have presented the topic for analog and digital communication. First of all, what is meant by communication? Communication is the sharing the information with proper understanding. This is called communication. Communication is classified into basically two types. First one is an analog communication, another one is an digital communications. Analog communication is classified into three types. One is amplitude modulation, and then frequency modulation, and then phase modulation. These are the analog communication techniques. First of all, what is meant by modulation? Modulation is the technique of two signals. One is a message signal and one is a carrier signal. So carrier signal is embedded into message signal to transmit the long distance. This is called modulation. Elements of communication systems: transmitter, channel, and then receiver. Transmitter is the transmitter through the channel, and then receiver is received the signal through the transmitter. This is the block diagram of communication system. First one is an information source. Information source is that any signal, any type of message signal, video, audio, or any signal is transmitted through the transmitter, and then the signal is called transmitted signal. The transmitted signal is next embedded into channel, and then channel is transmitted through the signal into receiver. Receiver received the signal. After receiver, the user information recover the original message signal. This is called block diagram of communication systems. First one is a transmitter. Transmitter consists of transducer, modulator, amplifier, and transmitting antenna in radio transmission. First one is a source of information, and then modulation technique are used to increase the signal strength. This is called modulation. Next, the carrier signal and then original message signal is combined and transmitted through the amplifier. The amplifier is used to amplify the signal, and then finally the antenna is acting as a transmitter. This is the transmitter part. First one is a transducer, convert sound signal into electrical signal. Modulator is performs mixing of electro audio signal with high frequency radio wave. The amplifier boosts the power of the modulated signal. And then finally antenna, radiated in this case the aid of antenna. Next, communication channel. First, the duty of the communication channel is the carry of the modulated signal to the transmitter to receiver. The communication channel also called a transmitter link or medium. What is the type of communication? Radio communication, and then telephony and telegraph communication, and then optical communications. What is the channels are used in the type of communication? First one is radio communication is used free space, telephony and telegraphy communication used in transmission line, and then optical communication used in optical fiber. Next one, receiver part. The receiver consists of pickup antenna, demodulator, amplifier, and transducer. First one is a demodulator. Demodulator means modulating the signal. It is separated from message signal and then carrier signal, and then demodulated signal is transmitted to the amplifier to amplify the signals, and then it is transmitted through the transducer finally take as an output of the signal. This is the part of a receiver. Receiver part mainly used as separating the message signal and then carrier signal. Pickup antenna to pick the signal. This is the working of pickup antenna. Next, demodulator to separate the audio signal from the modulated signal. Amplifier to boost up the weak audio signal. This is the main purpose to use it as an amplifier part. Next, transducer convert the back audio signal into the form of electrical pulses into sound waves. Next, modulation signals. Modulation. What is the meaning of modulation? Analog signals or digital signals are low frequency. It is cannot be transmitted through the long distance. So these signals are recovered to some carrier signals. So the carrier signal is a carrier wave or high frequency signal. The high frequency signal and the low frequency signal is combination of one type of signal. The signal is called modulated signal. The placement of low frequency signal over the high frequency signal is known as an modulation. Next, demodulation. The modulated signal receives by receiver. It separates the message signal from the modulated carrier signal. This technique is called demodulation. Overview of the modulation means the low frequency signal and the high frequency signal is combined and transmitted through the transmission medium. This is called modulation. That signal is traveled to the long distance. That's why modulation signal is proposed. Demodulation means the separated from modulated signal through the carrier signal. This is called demodulation technique. Next one, amplitude modulation. Amplitude modulation, the process of only amplitude the modulated wave varies in the accordance with amplitude of modulating waves. Modulated wave amplitude is varies with amplitude of the modulating wave. This technique is called amplitude modulation. But the frequency of the carrier wave is not changed. So amplitude modulation means the carrier wave frequency is constant and then modulated wave amplitude is changed according to the amplitude of the modulating waves. So this is the block diagram of amplitude modulation. The original signal is transmitted to the source of information. Next, the modulation means low frequency signal and then high frequency signal is combined and then it is transmitted to the channel. Oscillation is generated to the carrier wave, that is high frequency signal. Source of information is generated to the original message signal, that is low frequency signal. So high frequency signal carrier wave and then low frequency signal source of information signal is combined with modulated signal. So amplitude only changed, but carrier frequency is not changed. This is the amplitude modulation technique. High frequency carrier wave signal. This is the block diagram of output block diagram of amplitude modulation. First one is an high frequency carrier wave. So C means carrier wave, E means electromagnetic signal, so E suffix C. Second one is a low frequency modulating wave, that is original message signal. Carrier wave is an oscillating frequency, oscillator is generated to the carrier signal. Modulating wave is an original message signal. The carrier frequency wave and then modulating wave overcome to the transmitter. That transmitter generate the amplitude modulation wave, high frequency wave. So the third diagram, C diagram is an amplitude modulation wave. So EC, carrier signal plus message signal. So EC plus MAEC sin omega MT. That is the expression of amplitude modulation signal. Let us represent the modulating signal by EM, and it given as modulating signal EM equal to capital EM sin omega MT. So what is the meaning? Let the represent the modulating signal by EC, and it is given denoted as EC equal to EC sin omega CT. EM means amplitude of modulating signal. Modulated signal amplitude is called EM and carrier signal amplitude is called EC. Frequency of the modulated signal is called omega M. Frequency of the carrier signal is called omega C. So omega M, omega C is the frequency of modulating signal and then carrier signal. EM, EC is an amplitude of the modulating signal and then carrier signal. This is the explanation of these expressions. Thank you all. Thank you so much.